They pin a medal on your chest and call you a hero, but they don't tell you about the nightmares when the war comes home with you. Waking up in cold sweats, reaching for a phantom gun. Another restless night underneath the rising sun. I hear the helicopter blades spinning in the ceiling fan, trying to remember how to be a normal civilian man. They sent us to the desert, told us it was for the free, but all I saw was politicians protecting the industry. I watched my brother fall, bleeding out in the sand for an imaginary border drawn upon a foreign land. Now I'm back in the hood, struggling to pay the rent, wonder exactly where the government money went. No proper health care, just a bottle of the pills, trying to numb the trauma and the psychological chills. Wearing phantom medals, but my soul is stripped bare. Fighting invisible demons in the midnight air. We demand our human dignity, demand a respect. Tired of being the pawns that the empires neglect. Bring the soldiers home, lay the heavy weapons down before the ghosts of the fallen take over the town. Hey, I walk past the recruiting office, looking at the lies, selling a shiny future to the youth. With the starry eyes, they don't show the amputees, don't show the broken minds, just the fabricated glory that the military blinds. I gave my youth to the flag, gave my sanity away. Now I'm treated like a burden every single passing day. The system chews you up, spits you out on the street, leaving you to navigate the unbelievable defeat. I'm throwing my shiny medals right into the river stream, waking up the masses from this fabricated patriotic dream. Human life is not disposable, not a piece of the chest. We tired of cleaning up the bureaucratic bloody mess.
DJ cuts a vocal sample alive. DJ cuts a vocal sample alive.
Wake up.
DJ cuts a vocal
Wait,
sample
I'm speaking for the veterans, sleeping on the concrete, the ones who survived the fire just to suffer the defeat. We ain't asking for the charity, we asking for the truth. Stop sacrificing the innocence of the beautiful youth. I'm a survivor of the madness, scarred by the beast, praying for the day that the violence is deceased. Freedom ain't built on the bodies of the poor. We locking up the politicians, shutting the war door. Stand up for your life, realize what it's worth. We claiming back the dignity of everybody on the earth. Wearing the phantom medals, but my soul is stripped bare. The war is over, war is over. Let my mind rest, my mind rest, my mind rest. Peace, peace. Let my mind rest. Peace, peace. Look at the playground. Used to be swings and slides. Now it's just craters. This ain't defense. This is destruction. Walking through the concrete, stepping over the glass, looking at a future that's buried under the ash. I see a teddy bear covered in the dust and the dirt. Tell me how the politicians justify all the hurt. They launching the artillery from miles away, turning beautiful cities to a horrible gray. A little kid looking up, asking where did his father go? Swallowed by the violence that the government sowed. We normalize the body bags, televise the grief, treating human dignity like a fallen leaf, blowing in the wind of an endless ballistic storm. When did tearing down the humanity become the norm? Out of the rust and the rubble we crying for peace, demanding the tyrants in the military seats. You can't build a nation on the bones of the weak. We giving a voice to the ones who cannot speak. Lay down the weapons, look at the damage you made. We stepping out the darkness of the violence. Look
at the general, sitting in the war room, plotting out the coordinates, plotting out the doom. They playing the game of chess with the lives of the poor, sending the young blood straight to the slaughterhouse door. I'm picking up the shrapnel, heavy in my hand, a piece of the metal that devastated the land. They tell us it's for liberty, tell us it's for God, but looking at the massacre, the logic is flawed. Every single bullet is a theft of a dream. Every dropping bomb is silencing the scream. We need a revolution of the mind and the soul before the wicked warmongers swallow us whole. I spit the raw truth like a verbal grenade, exposing every secret that the empire made. We ain't the collateral damage, we are the pulse, tearing down the narratives that are terribly false. Freedom ain't a concept given by the state, it's a universal right that they cannot dictate. So stand in the rubble, hold up your fist to the sky. We reclaiming our dignity, we refuse to die. This is the heartbeat of the underground street, refusing to bow down, refusing defeat. Out of the rust and the rubble we crying for peace. Put the guns down, rebuild the world. We still here.
Smile for the camera, shake hands, sign the paper, then go back and count the blood money.
They sitting in the penthouse, sipping on the fine wine, drawing up the borders with a newly drawn line, signing up the treaty with the golden fountain pen, smiling for the media, deceiving all the men. But check the back door, the shipment is leaving, thousands of the rifles while the mothers are grieving. Hypocrisy is dripping from the presidential suit, chopping down the peace tree, poisoning the root. They talk about the sanctions, talk about the aid, but they selling the explosives in the darkest shade. A profitable enterprise, maximizing the death, squeezing out the profit from our final breath.
Ink on the treaty, blood on the hands, selling out the dignity of the broken lands. Preaching the peace, but you funding the war. We ain't falling for the wicked illusions no more. Tear up the paper, expose the machine, the dirtiest hustle that the world ever seen. Tear up the paper, expose the machine, the dirtiest hustle that the world ever seen.
Yeah. Stock prices soaring for the defense contractor, treating the civilian like a background actor in a horror movie directed by the greedy elite, leaving the marginalized dying out in the street. I'm tracing the money, following the paper trail, seeing how the justice is destined to fail. They manufacture enemies, manufacture the threat, keeping the society wrapped in a massive net of paranoia, terror, and geopolitical lies, blinding the compassion right out of our eyes. I'm kicking down the doors of the Parliament Hall, watching the empire of the arrogance fall.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
I'm a lyrical sniper aiming at the corruption, causing a beautiful necessary interruption. Human life is sacred, not a bargaining chip. I'm burning down a manifesto, letting it rip. We demand the freedom from the military grip, refusing to go down on a sinking ship. You can't buy the soul of a revolutionary mind. We leaving the archaic brutality behind. Stand up for the truth, look them straight in the face, eradicate the warmongers out of the human race.
Ink on the treaty, blood on the hands, selling out the dignity of the broken lands. You preaching the peace, but you funding the war. We ain't falling for the wicked illusions no more. Tear up the paper, expose the machine, the dirtiest hustle that the world ever seen. Tear up the paper, expose the machine, the dirtiest hustle that the world ever seen. Ink on
You are listening to the underground resistance. They block the internet, but they can't block the truth.
Broadcast starting now. Hacking into the mainframe, hijacking the radio wave, broadcasting the facts that the cowardly politicians gave. They bombing the hospitals, bombing the local schools, treating the entire population like a pack of fools. The mainstream media is a puppet on a bloody string, editing the footage so the emperor looks like a king. But I'm sitting in the basement with a microphone and a wire, setting the fabricated narrative completely on fire. They issued a warrant trying to track my IP, but the human desire for truth is entirely free. I expose the war crimes hidden in the classified files, showing the corruption stretching for 1,000,000 miles.
Sense of frequencies, we cutting through the static, the suppression of the peace, getting systematic. You can't silence the voice of the human right. We beaming the rebellion straight into the night. Turn up the volume, let the revolution speak, protecting the dignity of the innocent and weak.
I leaked the documents showing the civilian and death toll, how the military generals are losing the control. They label me a traitor, label me a massive threat, but I'm the only honest journalist that you ever met. I see the secret police kicking down the neighbor's door, looking for the people who are speaking against the war. But the network is growing, encrypted in the code. We walking down a very dangerous and solitary road to deliver the reality, the raw and the uncut, keeping the eyes wide open, never keeping them shut. You can jam the signal, but you cannot jam the brain. The seeds of the resistance are growing in the rain.
Radio static cuts into a heavy trap beat.
Radio static cut. They're kicking down my door right now. I hear the boots, but I'm planting the seeds and I'm planting the roots. I will never stop speaking, even with a gun to my head. I'd rather be a martyr for the truth than comfortably dead. Freedom of speech is the ultimate necessary weapon, changing the direction that the government is stepping. If the broadcast cuts out, you know what you gotta do. Take the microphone and let the message flow through. Human dignity is immortal, it will never expire. I'm passing you the torch, keep adding to the fire.
Sense of frequencies, hey. We cutting through the static. We cutting through the static.
Keep broadcasting. Don't let them silence you.
Radio static broadly.
I looked through the scope, and I didn't see an enemy. I saw myself. Crawling through the mud in the middle of the night, holding on to the rifle, gripping it tight. Drafted to a war that I don't understand, fighting a stranger on a foreign land. I heard him breathing heavy just across the wire, caught in the middle of the terrifying fight. The moon came out and illuminated his face. He was just a young kid caught in the same space. He had a picture of his family tucked in his vest, a terrified heartbeat pounding in his chest. I lowered my weapon, my hand started to shake, realizing this war is a massive mistake. Looking at the mirror in the middle of the trenches, washing off the blood and the horrifying stenches. We are the same, just wearing different clothes, manipulated by the system that nobody chose. Drop the ammunition, reach out your hand. Human dignity is the only promised land. They told me he was evil, told me he was a beast, but he's just trying to make it back to the east. I see the propaganda washing over the brain, convincing the youth to go insane in the rain. For what? A piece of dirt, a political goal. I refuse to sacrifice the purity of my soul. I threw my dog tags right into the dirt. Tired of the killing, tired of the hurt. He looked at me confused, then he lowered his gun. Two soldiers realizing the battle is done. We ain't fighting each other, we surviving alive underneath the exact same starry sky.
away from the front line, breaking the rank, leaving the artillery, leaving the tank. I'm speaking for the pacifists, speaking for the brave, refusing to be treated like a militant slave. If every single soldier decided to quit, the governments will fall into a bottomless pit. We would claim our freedom by refusing to fight, choosing the compassion, choosing the light. This is the brotherhood that they try to destroy. I'm saving the life of the enemy, boy. Looking at the mirror in the middle of the trenches, I'm going home, and I hope he does too. No more wars.
They don't just kill the people. They kill the history. They kill the memory. But we are the keepers of the past.
I'm walking through the ruins of the ancient libraries. The beauty of the culture turned into a cemetery. 1,000 years of history burned in a single night because a foreign army wanted to flex their military might. They bombing the museums, shattering the artifacts, trying to erase the evidence and erase the fact that we have a lineage of dignity of deep root, crushed underneath the heavy militarized boot. I'm picking up a burned page from a book of poetry, weeping for the absolute destruction of the ancestry. When you destroy the art, you destroying the soul, leaving a massive, unfillable, terrifying hole.
Ashes of Alexandria falling from the sky. We watching our beautiful history slowly die. War is a monster that eats the human mind, leaving the greatest achievements totally behind. But you can't erase the spirit, can't erase the pride. We carry the heritage deep on the inside.
They wanna make us orphans of the historical time. Writing out the identity is the ultimate crime. But I got the memories memorized in my brain. The songs of my grandmother echoing in the rain. We passing down the stories verbally in the dark, but taping the sacred and the revolutionary spark. You can blow up the statue, shatter the marble stone, but the bloodline of the culture is sitting on the throne. I'm teaching the children how to read the ancient text, preparing the warriors for whatever is coming next. We rebuilding the monuments inside of our heart. You can't use a missile to dismantle the art. Standing in the rubble with a pen and a pad, documenting the worst tragedy that we ever had. We holding on to the dignity, refusing to be erased. We stepping out the shadows, totally unapologetic, unfazed. The empires will crumble, the tanks will turn to rust, but the truth of our existence will rise from the dust. I'm a soldier of the culture, defending the human grace, shining the light of the peace all over the place. We won't let the warmongers write the final page. We're breaking out the intellectual magnificent cage.
Ashes of Alexandria falling from the sky.
Our memory is our weapon. Remember who you are. Peace.
I don't carry a gun, I carry a medical kit. To me, blood has no nationality. It it just needs to be stopped.
Bullets flying past my helmet, diving in the trench. The smell of the gunpowder and the terrifying stench. I see a soldier go down, screaming out in pain. I'm running through the crossfire, sprinting in the rain. I slide into the mud, apply the tourniquet tight. Looking in his eyes, telling him to win the fight. I don't care about his uniform, don't care about his flag. I'm just trying to keep him out of a body bag. He's clutching my collar, asking if he's gonna die. I wipe the dirt and the blood right out of his eye. This is the reality of the political greed. I'm fixing up the bodies that the governments bleed.
Taking the medics off in the middle of hell. Hearing the tolling of the devastating bell. Saving the human life, ignoring the divide. Pushing the politics and the borders aside. Every single heartbeat is a victory for the peace. For the peace, for the praying for the day that the violence will cease.
I treat the enemy soldiers with the exact same care, because the value of a life is incredibly rare. The commanders yell at me, call me a traitor to the state, cause I refuse to operate on the fuel of the hate. But when a man is bleeding out, calling for his mom, the differences disappear in the middle of the bomb. We all the same anatomy, flesh, blood, and the bone. Dying in the mud, incredibly and totally alone. I'm exhausted, hands shaking, covered in the red. Surrounded by the dying and surrounded by the dead. When will humanity realize the absolute waste, the bitter and the horrific metallic taste?
Middle of hell. Middle of hell.
I'm throwing my bloody gloves right onto the ground, screaming at the sky, making a desperate sound. I demand the politicians come down to the field, see the horrifying trauma that will never be healed. You sit in your mansions ordering the attack, while I'm trying to put the broken pieces back. Human dignity is sacred, it ain't a political tool. I'm sick of playing the game of a warmongering fool. Lay down the weapons, let the hospitals breathe. Give us a reason to genuinely believe in the future of the world and the power of the love. Looking for the peace descending from above.
Taking the medics off in the middle of hell. Save the life. Stop the war. Humanity first. Stop the war. Humanity first. Stop the war.
Humanity first.
They divide us by colors, by borders, by flags. But underneath the skin, we all bleed the same red. Listen to the heartbeat. I'm ripping up the passport, burning the flag. Tired of the nationalism making me gag. They condition the youth to hate the unknown, to defend an imaginary geographical zone. But the earth is a singular, beautiful sphere. We letting the prejudice slowly disappear. Why should I kill a man? Cause he born in the east, when we both trying to survive the belly of the beast. I look in the eyes of the foreign and strange, and I see a reflection that I wouldn't change. We share the same struggles, we share the same tears, overcoming the century of the orchestrated fears.
No flags, just faces. No borders, just grace. We elevating the whole of the human race.
Human dignity is the universal law, the most beautiful connection that I ever saw. Throw away the weapons, embrace the divine. Your liberty is permanently linked to mine. The dictators terrified of the unity shown when the people of the world decide to build their own networks of the love, networks of the care. Breathing in the free and the unpolluted air. We sending the medical supplies to the war-torn, protecting the innocent, protecting the newborn, defying the embargoes, defying the state. We replacing the violence, replacing the hate, from the mountains of Asia to the African coast. The spirit of the peace is what matters the most. I'm an ambassador of the human soul, taking back the power, taking the control. revolutionary pride. We dismantling the armies, dismantling the hate, opening the rusted and the heavy iron gate to a future where the human dignity is king, where the chorus of the liberated finally sing. We ain't stopping to the total abolition of the war, till the weapons of destruction exist no more. This is the ultimate spiritual revolution. Love is the only permanent solution.
No borders, just grace. We elevating the whole of the human race. Justice faces. No borders, just grace.
One world, one people. We are the earth.
One people.
Peace.
One people.
We are the earth.
One people.
Peace. We one world.
One people.
Peace.
One people.
We are the earth.
One people.
They wanna hide the truth, but my camera sees everything. Click exposed.
Strapping on the Kevlar, grabbing the Nikon lens, going to the places where the nightmare begins. The military escorts trying to censor the view. Don't take a picture of that or we're arresting you. But I'm sneaking through the alley, zooming in on the grief, capturing the moments of the unbelievable disbelief. A mother holding a child in a ruinous state, a photograph that documents the horrific hate. I'm freezing the time, making the history permanent, exposing the crimes of the corrupt government. They want the world to think that the war is clean, but I'm showing the bloodiest, dirtiest scene. Bulletproof lenses, capturing the pain, exposing the monsters who are making it rain. With the bombs and the bullets, we showing the truth, protecting the dignity of the innocent youth. A picture is a weapon that can shatter the lies, open up the world's beautifully ignorant eyes. I got the Pulitzer Prize, but it feels like a curse, because the situation is only getting dramatically worse. They targeting the journalists, labeling us as the spies, trying to put a blindfold over the global eyes. I dodged the sniper fire, running across the bridge, taking cover behind a broken down refrigerator ridge. Every single click of the shutter is a massive risk, saving the horrific files onto a digital disc. I upload the photos through an encrypted line, so the world can see the absolute wicked design of the military industrial capitalistic machine. The most terrifying pictures that you ever seen.
Bulletproof lenses, bulletproof lenses, bulletproof lenses. Bulletproof lenses, bulletproof lenses, bulletproof lenses.
I'm weaponizing the truth, flashing the light, showing the reality of the terrifying fight. You can't hide the genocide behind the PR spin. I'm showing the exact places where the bombs have been. We demand accountability, demand the arrest of the war criminals who failed the ultimate test of human dignity, compassion, and the fundamental right. I'm keeping my eyes open, staring into the night. A photograph can end the war, change the public mind, leaving the apathy and the ignorance behind. So look at the pictures, don't look away from the gore. Stand up and scream that we don't want the war. Bulletproof lenses, capturing the pain, exposing the monsters who are making it rain. With the bombs and the bullets, we showing the truth, protecting the dignity of the innocent youth. A picture is a weapon that can shatter the lies, open up the world's beautifully ignorant eyes.
The truth is captured. Do something about it. The truth is captured. Do something about it.
Every drop of blood is a $sign to them. Check the portfolio. The business of death.
Sitting in the boardroom, looking at the graph, cutting the population literally in half. The portfolio is diverse, strictly ammunition, executing the horrific capitalistic mission. They don't wear the camouflage, they wear the Armani, funding the conflict from the US to the Saudi, making the margin on the misery and the pain, dancing in the middle of the radioactive rain. I see the CEO getting a massive bonus check, while the frontline soldier is a nervous wreck. They privatize the war, mercenaries for the hire, throwing the humanity right into the fire. The deeper the conflict, the higher the stock, they're controlling the tempo of the doomsday clock. Wall Street warlords, trading on the blood, leaving human dignity drowning in the mud. You ain't the patriot, you the ultimate thief, capitalizing on the international grief. We seize in the assets, shutting down the bank, pulling the plug leaders, look at the receipts. You find the corruption in the Wall Street suites. They lobbying the senators to veto the peace, making sure the overseas operations never cease. Because peace is a deficit, peace is a loss. They worship the prophet, they worship the boss. We sacrificing the youth on the altar of the greed, feeding the monster that we didn't need to feed. I'm hacking the database, exposing the names of the people who orchestrate the wickedest games. The military-industrial complex is a fraud, playing the role of a violent, merciless God. The glass, bringing the revolution to the ruling class. You can't put a price tag on a human life. We cutting the strings with the lyrical knife. The blood of the innocent is staining your wealth. We reclaiming the planet, reclaiming our health. We demand the freedom from the corporate greed, planting the revolutionary conscious seed. Watch the empire of the arrogance fall when the unified people finally answer the call. Wall Street warlord, trading on the blood. Wall Street warlords, trading on the blood. Trading on the blood. Trading on the blood. Market crashed. Humanity rising. Game over.
They build walls to keep us out, or maybe to keep us in. Either way, the human spirit doesn't know borders.
Standing in the line at the concrete checkpoint gate, holding my ID card, waiting on the heavy fate. Armed guards looking at me like I'm a loaded gun. Sweat dripping down my face underneath the blazing sun. My family lives a mile away, just across the wall. But to reach them, I gotta answer the bureaucratic call. Interrogated, humiliated, stripped of the pride. Told to step aside, told that I'm completely denied. Because of the passport color, because of the name. Caught up in the wicked geopolitical game. They divide the neighborhood with the barbed wire fence. The lack of humanity is incredibly intense.
Concrete checkpoints blocking the way, stealing our freedom every single day. We demand the right to move, the right to be free. Erase the borders from the land to the sea. Human dignity can't be contained by a wall. We waiting for the day that the barriers fall. The barriers fall.
I remember when the city was united and whole, before the military forces took their absolute control. Now we living in a cage, treated like the animals by the politicians, acting like the modern cannibals, eating up the resources, starving out the block, watching their hands turn on the doomsday clock. I see an old woman crying, denied the medical care because she couldn't get a permit to cross over there. This is a systemic violence, institutional hate, determining the human life by a piece of the gate. But the birds fly over, the wind blows through, and one day the people are gonna break through too. Writing the lyrics to dismantle the stone. You can cage the body, but the mind is flown. We building underground solidarity networks, bypassing the system and all of its quirks. We demand a freedom of movement, freedom to live without having to beg for what the system won't give. Tear down the walls like they did in Berlin. Let the beautiful era of the unity begin. No more checkpoints, no more guns in the face. Respecting the dignity of the human race. I'm walking forward, and I won't turn around. We're taking back every inch of the stolen ground.
Oh, concrete checkpoints blocking the way. Oh,
We are exactly 90 seconds to midnight. Is anybody listening?
Look at the sky, waiting for the flash, preparing the world to turn into the ash. The superpowers playing the nuclear chicken. The heartbeat of the earth is starting to sicken. A push of a button, the end of the line, eradicating the magnificent human design. We built the technology to travel to space, but we use it to exterminate our own race. Underground bunkers for the president and crew, while the radioactive fallout is dropping on you. We living in the shadow of the ultimate threat, a terrifying gamble, a ridiculous bet. Countdown to zero, looking at the clock. The foundation of the earth is starting to rock. We demand the survival, demand to be free from the terrifying threat of the nuclear seed. Dismantle the warhead, step back from the edge. We making a desperate humanity pledge. Imagine the zero, completely erased. The history of the world violently displaced. No more music, no more art, no more breath. Just the quiet radioactive silence of death. Is this the legacy that we want to leave behind? A testament to a species going totally blind. I'm speaking to the leader sitting on the red phone. You don't own the planet, you don't own the throne. You're holding the gun to the head of the youth. I'm stripping the ego and speaking the truth. We gotta disarm, we gotta negotiate before the timeline seals a terrifying fate. Wake up the masses, march in the street. Refuse to accept this apocalyptic defeat. We wanna see the children growing up old, not living in the winter, incredibly cold. Human dignity means the right to exist without the apocalyptic fear in the mist. I'm an advocate for life, an advocate for peace, demanding the global hostility cease. Stop the countdown, turn back the time, eliminate the ultimate catastrophic crime. Countdown to zero, looking at the clock. The foundation of the earth is starting to rock. We demand a survival, demand to be free from the terrifying threat of the nuclear seed. Dismantle the warhead, step back from the edge. We making a desperate humanity plan.
0 hour cancel. We choose life. Breathe.
I just turned 18. I got a letter in the mail. They want me to die for something I don't believe in.
Sitting at the kitchen table, staring at the drafted letter, thinking that my life was supposed to be completely better. Graduated high school, ready for the university. Now I'm forced to participate in the global adversity. Government telling me I gotta pack my bags and go to fight a designated enemy that I don't even know. If I refuse, they throw me in the federal penitentiary, stealing away the best years of my entire century. They shave my head, strip away my individuality, programming the mind to accept the brutality. Hand me an assault rifle, tell me how to kill a man, executing a horrific dictatorial plan. Drafted innocence, forced into the fire, manipulated by the ultimate political liar. We refuse to be the pawns, refuse to be the meat, dying for the rich man sitting in the suite. Take back your uniform, take back your gun. I refuse to be a murderer for anyone. Boot camp screaming in my ear, breaking down the soul, trying to turn a human to a weapon they control. I see my fellow recruits crying in the bunk bed, terrified of the future, terrified of the dead. We ain't soldiers, we just kids playing in the street. Now we forced to march to a militarized beat. The politicians start the war, but they don't fight. They send in the lower class into the terrifying night. I look at my hands, I don't want the blood on the skin. This is a game where absolutely nobody can win. I'm a conscientious subject, loud and I'm proud, standing out strongly in the middle of the blame. Drafted innocence, forced into the fire, manipulated by the ultimate political liar. We refuse to be the pawns, refuse to be the meat, dying for the rich man sitting in the suite. Take back your uniform,
choose our own destiny, refusing to be victims of your military legacy. Human dignity means I own my own life. I will not be the one holding a violent knife. We starting a movement, massive resistance, protesting the war with a beautiful persistence. Let the youth live, let the youth dream. We shutting down the terrifying military machine. Drafted innocence, forced into the fire. Fire, fire, fire. My life, my choice. No draft, no war. Peace.
Peace.
A mother's cry sounds the same in every language. Pain doesn't care about the borders. Listen.
Two different countries, miles apart, but they sharing the exact same broken heart. One mother in the desert, one mother in the snow, receiving the letter that delivers the blow. A folded flag and a telegram note. The hardest pill that slipped down the throat. Her baby boy died on the front line dirt. Tell me how the politics measure the hurt. They speak different languages, pray to different gods, but they both victimized by the terrible lies of a war that was started by the old and the rich, leaving the innocent bleeding in the ditch. Tears have no accent. Tears have no accent. Pain has no name. Pain has no name. We all burning up in the political flame. Fallen soldier is a mother's only son. We crying for the dignity, crying for the peace, waiting for the day that the sorrow will cease. I visit the graveyard looking at the stone. A million young men dying completely alone. The politicians claim that they died for a cause, but looking at the mothers giving me a pause. Ain't no victory parade gonna bring back the life or comfort the incredibly devastated wife. We celebrate the killer, we give him a badge, while the collateral damage is lost in the camouflage. I write this lyric with a tear in my eye, looking at the dark in the beautiful sky. If the leaders had to send their own kids to the front, they would quickly negotiate and call off the hunt. The mothers holding their hands, unit in the sorrow across the divided lands. We turning the grief into a powerful force, changing the destructive historical course. We refuse to give our children to the machine, the most radical resistance that you ever seen. Love is the weapon, empathy is the shield. We walking off the violent battlefield. For every single life that was senselessly lost, we demanding the peace, no matter the cost. Tears have no accent, pain has no name. Rest in peace to the fallen. Comfort to the mother, your mom. Rest in peace to the fallen. Comfort to the mothers, no more.
Look up. The sky isn't blue anymore. It's filled with machines. The war went digital, but the blood is still real.
Walking outside, keep keeping one eye on the cloud. The silence of the drones is incredibly loud. No pilots in the cockpit, just an AI brain calculating algorithms, calculating the pain. Facial recognition scanning everybody on the block. We living in the futuristic, terrifying shock. They push a button on a keyboard, wipe out a base, erasing the existence of the human race. It's a sterile execution, devoid of the emotion. A cybernetic military murderous ocean. We disconnected from the reality of the kill, operating the slaughter with a digitized thrill.
Cybernetic skies, raining down the code, walking down the dark dystopian road. We losing our humanity, losing the touch, relying on the devastating machines way too much. Pull the plug on the server, bring us back to earth. Remember the magnificent human birth.
Hacking into the grid, trying to find a blind spot, avoiding the autonomous robotic laser dot. They treating the warfare like a video game, where nobody takes the actual personal blame. A glitch in the system causes a massive strike, hitting the civilians, children on a bike. Acceptable casualties calculated by the bot. This is the horrifying future that we got. I'm an analog soul in a digital cage, turning up the volume on the human rage. We need to unplug the absolute insanity and restore the fundamental beautiful humanity. That futuristic G-funk singers. I'm writing the virus, infecting the mainframe, shutting down the drones, ending the game. You can't program a heart, you can't code a soul. We taking back the absolute physical control. We demand the freedom from either electronic eye. We wanna look up at a beautiful empty sky. No more autonomous weapons making the choice. Listen to the power of the human voice. We smashing the service, tearing the wires, lighting up the revolutionary physical fires. Human dignity is blood, sweating the tears, conquering the futuristic orchestrated fears.
Cybernetic skies, raining down the code, down the code, down the code, down the code, down the code.
System override. Humanity restored.
Get in the back, keep your head down.
We cross the checkpoint in 2 minutes.
Hold your breath.
Hold your breath.
Hold.
Driving through the night with the headlights off, telling the little kids to swallow the cough. We navigating through the heavily guarded zone, smuggling the refugees out of the terror dome. The regime is hunting checkpoints on the road, carrying the precious and the terrified load. They prosecuting people for the things they believe. We the underground network, helping them leave. Fake IDs in a hidden compartment, moving them out of the rated apartment. I risk my own life for the freedom of the oppressed. Bulletproof vest strapped tight to my chest. This ain't a movie, this is the reality check, with the military police breathing right on my neck. My neck, my neck, my neck, my neck. Shadow smugglers moving in the dark, igniting the revolutionary underground spark. We define the tyrants, breaking the law. The bravest resist that you ever saw. Human dignity is worth the risk of the cage. We writing the history, turning the page. Approaching the border, dogs barking loud, hiding in the middle of the shadowy cloud. I hand the guard a bribe, looking straight in his eye, hoping that he buys the fabricated lie. He checks the trunk, but he misses the floor. I step on the gas, tearing out of the door. We cross the perimeter, into the safe land. I look at the family, holding their hand. They crying tears of joy, kissing the ground. The most beautiful, emotional, magnificent sound. We broke the chains of the dictatorial state. We opened up the heavy and the iron gate. I drop them off safe, turn the vehicle around, heading back into the underground. Underground, 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 underground. The shadows, phantom of the night, fighting the oppression, fighting for the right. You can't build a wall that the spirit can't cross. We navigating through the incredible loss. Every life saved is a victory won against the barrel of the governmental gun. We
the modern day railroad, seeking the free, protecting the beautiful human dignity. No dictator gonna hold the humanity down. We the invisible kings, wearing the crown. Shadow smugglers moving in the dark.
Mission accomplished, going back for more freedom. Driving baseline abruptly ends.
Hey, my father fought in the war. His father fought in the war. They want me to fight in the war. It stops with me.
Yeah, looking at the portrait hanging on the living room wall. My grandfather in the uniform standing so tall. He died for a vendetta that started in the past. A cycle of the vengeance that was destined to last. And my father took the rifle trying to avenge the name. Caught up in the exact same murderous game. Now they handing me the weapon, telling me it's my turn to let the fire of the hatred absolutely burn. But I'm looking at my newborn baby in the crib. I refuse to feed him the exact same fib. That violence is the only way to settle the score. I'm throwing the ammunition right out the door.
We the cycle breakers, smashing up the wheel, showing the entire world how to really heal. I will not inherit the hatred of the past. This generation's peace is finally gonna last. Human dignity is breaking the bloody chain, washing out the centuries of the brutal pain.
The politicians rely on a generational grudge, refusing to negotiate, refusing to budge. They teach us to hate the neighbor from the very first breath, normalizing the culture of the glorious death. But I sat down with the son of my so-called foe and realized we share the exact same woe. We both lost our fathers to the identical lie. We both looking up at the identical sky. We shook hands, made a pact, wiped away the tear, decided to eliminate the orchestrated fear. It takes a massive courage to forgive and forget, but it's the greatest victory that we ever met.
3J Scrapple. 3J Scrapple. 3J Scrapple.
I'm an architect of peace, building a new bridge, walking over the dangerous historical ridge. We rewriting the textbooks, teaching the love, bringing down a peaceful revolutionary dove. No more retaliation, no more eye for an eye, leaving the whole world blind, watching it die. We demand the freedom to love who we want without the historical ghosts coming to haunt. I look at my son, I promise him a better day, where the weapons of destruction are locked far away. We are the evolution, the ultimate cure, making sure the human dignity remains pure.
We the cycle breakers, smashing up the wheel.
VJ Scrapper,
The future is clean. No more bloodlines of war. Peace.
VJ Scrackle. VJ Scrackle. VJ Scrackle.
This is where it ends. This is where we draw the line. The people have spoken.
Millions in the street, marching to the square. The smell of the revolution hanging in the air. The military standing with the shields and the tanks, but the people ain't afraid, holding up the ranks. We linking the arms, looking at the oppressor, taking down the tyrant, the ultimate aggressor. No weapons in our hands, just the power of the truth, driven by the courage of the fearless youth. They try to shoot the tear gas, but the wind blows it back. The system is crumbling, starting to crack. We tearing down the barricade, storming the gate, overthrowing the machinery of the hate.
This is the last barricade, watch it fall, answering the ultimate humanity's call. We stood in the fire, we conquered the fear. The dawn of the beautiful freedom is here. Human dignity rising like the morning.
soldiers dropping their shields to the ground, joining the people. Look at the profound moment of the unity, breaking the spell, stepping out the darkness of the violent hell. We dragging the warmongers out of the sweet, making them walk down the liberated street. The power belongs to the masses, the poor and the weak. We finding the glorious future we seek. No more innocent blood spilling on the earth. We celebrating the global magnificent birth of a society based on the love and the care, breathing the unpolluted liberty air.
Society based on the love and the drive.
The microphone at the top of the hill, looking at the peace that we managed to build. We survived the darkness, survived the decay, and brought the entire world into the day. The right to exist, the right to be free is the ultimate destiny for you and for me. I'm dedicating this to the ones who have died. Your beautiful sacrifices are permanent pride. So raise your hands high, touch the infinite sky. We are the revolution.
Watch it fall.
We did it. The war is over. Welcome to the future.
We did it. The war is over. Welcome to the future.
From the projects to the favelas, from the slums to the refugee camps, we are the majority, and we demand peace. See the ghettos of the world uniting as one, realizing that we staring down the identical gun. The rich men start the wars, but the poor men bleed, sacrificed on the altar of the corporate greed. But the streets are waking up from LA to the east, refusing to be fed to the belly of the beast. We ain't fighting each other over the colors of blocks, we fighting the system that controls the locks. I see the gangs calling truce, dropping the flags, turning the bandanas to the peace treaty rags. We realizing the true enemy is the state that capitalizes on the fabricated hate.
This is the Ghetto Symphony.
Playing for the peace. Playing for the peace.
Demanding the global hostility.
Completely cease. We rising from the concrete, taking back the power. This is the revolutionary, magnificent hour. Human dignity is shining from the underground. The most beautiful, liberating, powerful sound. We organizing the marches, millions in the street. The synchronized rhythm of the marching feet. The politicians trembling, hiding in the tower. They terrified of the unified popular power. We demanding the resources go to the school instead of funding the military. Murderous tool. We want the hospitals built. We want the food on the plate. We erasing the borders, eradicating the hate. The power of the hip-hop, bridging the gap, putting every single marginalized hood on the map. We singing the exact same chorus in a different tongue. A global anthem of freedom, incredibly sung. Of a king, listen to the incredible message I bring. We will not be the casualties of your wicked design. We drawing a permanent revolutionary line. Stand up, every citizen of the global earth. Recognize your massive, undeniable worth. We dismantling the armies, dismantling the bomb, bringing in the era of the beautiful calm. This is the ultimate victory, the ultimate high. We claiming our freedom right under the sky. The war is officially over. The people have won. The era of the human dignity has finally begun.
This is the Ghetto Symphony.
Playing for the peace, for the peace, for the peace.
Power to the people.
Worldwide.
Tonight at 11, exclusive footage of the bombings. Turn the channel, turn it off. They're selling death in high definition.
Sitting on the couch, flat screen on the wall, watching the missiles mathematically fall. Anchors in the studio wearing the makeup, acting like they care, holding the coffee cup, but the ticker at the bottom is counting the dead while they commercialize the blood that is visibly shed. It's an entertainment package, primetime show, exploiting the agony, letting it flow. They don't show the reality, the smell of the flesh, they just edit the video, keeping it fresh, sanitizing the war for the suburban view, while the innocent people are violently through. Primetime bloodshed live on your screen, the most disgusting reality you ever seen. Trading human dignity for the rating and view, brainwashing the masses, manipulating the youth. Turn off the television, look at the real. Remember what it means to actually feel. Television. They use the buzzwords to justify the attack, painting the world in the white and the black. No nuance, no empathy, just a division. Executing the propaganda with the precision. The sponsors are paying for the commercial break right after they show the massive earthquake caused by the bombs of the liberation fleet, while the children are starving out in the street. I'm calling out the journalists selling their soul, acting as a mouthpiece, losing control. You supposed to be the truth, the voice of the mute, but you acting like an ignorant corporate suit. We breaking the frequency, hijacking the wave, broadcasting the voices of the true and the brave, showing the unfiltered horrors of the combat zone, making the politicians reap what they sown. We demand the freedom of the independent thought. Human life is something that cannot be bought or sold for the advertising revenue stream. Wake up from the televised horrific dream. Reclaim your empathy, reclaim your mind, leave the digital apathy totally behind. Time, bloodshed, live on your screen, the most disgusting reality you ever seen. Trading human dignity for the rating and view, brainwashing the masses, manipulating your youth. Turn off the television, look at the real. Remember what it means to actually feel. Turn off the television.
The revolution will not be televised.